You're listening to Wholesaling Inc. episode number 3.
Like, my true belief system is I'm there to help this individual. And if I am the option, great. And if I'm not the option, I'm okay with that. And I'm okay also leading them the direction that they need to go. And then I come to find out I get more and more deals from this. It's like the law of the harvest in its best practice.
This is game-changing information guaranteed to raise your real estate wholesaling business with actionable steps you can take immediately to navigate the ins and outs of wholesaling and start making money today. Bam! Join us as we put our guests in the hot seat and dive deep to dissect their strategies for success to enable you to duplicate their results. Investor Grit presents Wholesaling Inc., the only show dedicated to making you a fortune in wholesaling with your hosts, Tom Kroll and Cody Hofhine.
Woo! Hey guys, welcome to another awesome, no fluff, no BS episode of Wholesaling Inc. by Investor Grit. We are going to crush it today. I've got a guy on the phone I know you heard of, Cody Hofhine. Cody, are you there?
I am here, my man.
All right, guys. So here's the deal. Today we are putting Cody in the hot seat. No fluff, no BS. I'm not going to waste time talking about Cody's sad story. We're going to get right down to the meat and the potatoes because I know that that's what you guys want to hear. So we are going to pick his brain. He just did a deal where he made a net profit of $73,000, $73,135.45 to be exact. I want to tell you exactly step by step, exactly how he did it so that you can have the same exact success and you can replicate it and you can crush it right now. For anyone who's joining us, if you don't know what wholesaling is the fastest way to make a fortune in a super short amount of time without really knowing anything about real estate and without using your own money or your own credit. And we give you the step-by-step instruction how to. It's all about finding super discounted properties that everybody says don't exist and then making a fortune with those properties in a very short amount of time. So let's get right down to the meat and potatoes. No fluff, no BS. Cody, how are you doing today?
Not too bad. Thank you.
Good.
I'm absolutely excited to be here today.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Let's get right down to it. First of all, I know you are in Utah. What city was this deal in?
This was in a city called Roy in just Utah. So maybe about 30, 40 minutes away from my actual residence.
I love it. Roy, Utah. So first of all, the first thing that we want to know is a lot of people say, well, they say, well, Tom, Cody, these deals, nobody wants to sell deals for a discount right now. That was back a few years ago when there was a big financial disaster, but there are no good deals anymore. Demand is high, inventory is low. So my first question is, obviously all deals start with a motivated seller, somebody who wants to sell quickly for whatever reason. The first question we have for you is, how did you either find this seller or how did this seller find you? And try to be as specific as possible because we want to really make sure that people can, replicate what you did.
Absolutely. First, to hit on the key point, there are plenty of people out there that say that there's the Chicken Littles, right? The sky's falling. I love those people because then it leaves even more deals for me to go out and find. But this particular seller, this came from a channel. We talk about different marketing channels all the time. This one comes from a fairly new marketing channel that I absolutely love, and that's from Facebook. So a lot of times you'll see like advertisements come up when you're in Facebook. That's exactly how I did this. I market through Facebook. This individual ended up finding this ad. They clicked on it and filled out a web form. I met with them, and from there it was just sitting down and negotiating a deal. So
okay, so let's just slow down a little because that's a lot of information. Let's go through step by step. So first of all, you said Facebook. So now Facebook, are we talking about it's an actual ad? It's not like a post that you posted on your page. It's like you went to Facebook and you did an ad. Now, first of all, for a few things. Did you do the ad yourself or did you hire somebody or what did that look like?
That's a great question. I don't do any of this. Like if I want to succeed and do deal after deal after deal, I need to delegate. So no, I do not do these ads. It's not a post. It is an actual Facebook ad, and that is done by a third party. So I actually hire that out. I do not touch it. He does it.
I love it. Very, very cool. Now, the next thing is Facebook sounds expensive. Is it $1 million, $10 million? I mean, I'm being a little facetious here because I do know about Facebook. I use it myself. But how much Did it cost? How much? How long have you been running Facebook ads? Is it a big, fat, expensive channel, or is it something that you kind of do as a ninja? Like, tell us a little bit more about the expense of running ads on Facebook.
Okay, so with Facebook, it's very cost effective. It's so much cheaper than actual like pay per click, which can cost a lot. So this, in comparison, it started off at like 14 cents every time someone hits my ad on Facebook, versus on the internet, like pay per click, it's like $70 every time someone clicks on my ad. And so I love Facebook for how cheap it is. And yeah, it can be as simple as paying someone $1,000 to manage this for you every single month. And then I do quite a bit of it. So I put about, $1,200 worth of money to have him use as like my budget every single month for people to be clicking on.
So, okay, so that's awesome. So you spend about $1,200 a month?
Yes, $1,200 towards my budget, but then $1,000 to him to do it for me.
Okay, so you pay him $1,000, and then there's also $1,200 on top of that.
That is correct.
Okay, so not super cheap, but definitely cheaper than direct mail, I would imagine, for your market. So that's okay. So awesome. Now, the ad, if somebody doesn't have that kind of budget, they want to do work directly with Facebook. Can you give us like a gist of, first of all, what does the ad say? Number one, and then number two is, what is an ad? Does it go to like your website, or is it just go to a form? Or like, tell us a little bit more about that if anybody wants to, like, they want to just kind of get down and dirty and do it themselves and not outsource this. What does that look like?
That is a hard one to answer because I don't understand Facebook. Like, that's the best part about it is I know nothing about it. I just know it works and my ROI is fantastic, which I mean by that is return on investment. But what I can tell you, it's so niche and so targeted that he's able to put my ad out to exactly the type of sellers I'm looking for so that only they see my ads. It's not everyone in Utah seeing my ad. It's very direct, very niche on how and who sees that ad. If I were to say to do it by yourself, I couldn't give you any background because I just don't do it. I don't know it. So that probably doesn't help our listeners too much, other than I know you can reach out to any Facebook marketing company out there. In fact, this might be something we actually get our Facebook marketer on our podcast. If I can tell you anything, it'd probably be best. I'll ask these questions so our learners can hear exactly step-by-step how it's done.
Okay, yeah, that is awesome idea. Let's do that. Listeners? Okay, yeah, perfect. So let's do that. Let's get our Facebook guy, because we both use the same guy as everybody, and this guy is phenomenal. I will tell you that my internet leads are through the roof. I'm doing deal after deal after deal. And what I love about Facebook, and Cody, you could probably say this too if you agree with it, is that what's great about the internet leads is that the conversion rate is through the roof, and the profit margins are through the roof. So these are like the easy deals that are big, which is very, very cool. So and I think actually
competition, Tom, to tell you the truth, like I don't see anyone on these appointments. It's usually just me on these appointments.
I totally agree. And the other thing too about them is that they're super profitable. They're super easy. And actually I think for the first month ever, since we started working with our Facebook guy, is that this is going to be the first month ever that one of our other channels other than direct mail actually outperforms direct mail, which I am super stoked about. So all right, so let's get back on point. So let's do this. So first of all, okay, so the seller contacts you. Now, first of all, Cody, do you use when the seller fills out the form, do they call you, or does it go to live answer, or do you go to voicemail, or is it a form that one of you get or your acquisition manager get? What does that process look like?
Yeah, so that's done all through our CRM, our customer relationship management system, which we use a company called Podio. So what happens is they fill out this form. This form automatically gets entered this database into Podio. And then, we reach out to them by phone. So I don't get back with them with an email. I actually have my team get back to them by phone and figure out what's going on. And they reply to a simple ad that just says, "We buy homes cash." Like, that is our simple ad. And it shows a picture of a home, and that's it. And then they fill out a web form.
I love it. Okay, very cool. So all right, so the seller calls in from Roy, Utah. They have a house. My first question is, why was the seller selling? Because I know this, wholesaling and finding discounted properties is all about the seller and the situation, the impending event. If I don't sell by X, then Y is going to happen. So tell us a little bit of the background of why was this seller actually selling?
Surface, this goes back to your podcast, which is so true. Surface was, we're thinking about moving. And that's exactly how they said it. They said some numbers. There was equity in the home. So we booked the appointment. When we go sit down with the seller, my team goes out there, sits down with the seller. And from there, the true reason was, no, it's no longer we're just testing the market and we're thinking about selling. No, they actually needed to be gone in 2 weeks. And my team went over multiple times saying, you know what, the best way on this is list this with a realtor, see what you can get for it that will net you your best money. And she's like, I can't. I have 2 weeks. We've got to be gone. We are relocating. We got new jobs. And so 2 weeks is perfect. We made the cash offer. They accepted. And that is it. As simple as that.
So I just want to highlight something that Cody just said, guys, that Cody's team, they do over $100,000 a month in profit, and he's an amazing all-star. So I just want to say this. What Cody just said was so important. This originally came out of the Peter Conti, David Finkel book, which is, in that book, they call it reversing. But always, 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 you're never trying to be a deal creator. You're trying to be a deal finder. And when you're chasing the deal, it runs away from you. Just like trying to catch a dog. When you chase a dog, it runs away from you. When you run away from a dog, it chases you. Exactly what he just said just shows the level of expertise, because they said, why not work with an agent? So one of the biggest tricks to wholesaling and being a deal finder rather than a deal creator is eliminating every other option except working with you, which is backing away. When the seller, instead of trying to convince them to work with me, they're saying, hey, why don't you work with somebody else? And now the seller is convincing Cody that he should give them their money, his money, rather than him convincing the seller to give them the house. So that is the key. Like, that is such a key point, is you always want to be walking away from the deal and finding out why they're really selling. It's so critical, so that you're not chasing deals, that they're chasing you. So I want to point that out, because as you're building rapport with the seller, you don't have to be there making it all about the number, because remember, guys, as wholesalers, we will always lose on the number. We don't give the highest price. We have our services. We pay cash. We close fast. We pay the closing costs. We buy as is. So there shouldn't be any convincing anyone of anything. So I just wanted to point that out, Cody, because that is so important, that you said that to the seller. Hey, listen with an agent. It'll take a little bit longer. You'll have to do some showings, but you'll get a higher price, and that is the key. So I really love that. So all right, so
well, Tom, one thing to add to that real quick, and I think this is critical, is being okay that you're not the option all the time. It is okay. Like, I'll present myself as an option, and if I'm not the option, I truly, truly, truly am there to make this situation good for them, whether I'm the option or not. And I truly do have a belief system in place. No matter what your upper power is, in what your faith is, like, my true belief system is, I'm there to help this individual. And if I am the option, great. And if I'm not the option, I'm okay with that. And I'm okay also leading them the direction that they need to go. And then I come to find out I get more and more deals from this. It's like the law of the harvest in its best practice.
I couldn't agree more. And it really shows that you have an abundance mindset, right? So you guys, this is another key point, is that if you believe that we're all going to the same puddle, and more for him means less for you, and we all have thimbles and there's a little tiny puddle, you're going to be in a scarcity mindset, which means that you're going to be afraid of losing the deal, and you're not going to have that confidence and that abundance mindset that's going to say, you don't have to chase this deal. If you have an abundance mindset, there's an ocean of water, and we have 10-gallon buckets, all of us, and there's more than enough for everybody. I think that's so that's so key. It's so key of, being a go-giver and doing that's when an abundance mindset is really key, which is why we're out here giving out this information, because there's no such thing as competition, only collaboration. So, all right. So awesome point. I love it. Very, very cool. So now you make the presentation to the seller. They talk to you. You guys have built some rapport. You have the house under contract. Tell us a little bit more about the price structure, how you got to the offer. Did they give you the price? Did you give them a price? What did all of that look like?
Yeah. So we made a cash offer. Now, not knowing a huge bit, this is a new county for our team. We just barely jumped into this county not too long ago, maybe a month before we found this deal. And so we really, truly didn't know what the retail value was going to be on this home. But yeah, we structured a deal where we put it where we felt safe enough to say, hey, as a cash price, like we feel like this is going to be our number. And from there, what is crucial and key is we actually purchased this home. We have transactional funding all for our deals. We closed on this home and we now own this home. Right when the sellers moved out, we hired a company to go clean the house a little bit. And then we hired another company to stage it. And by stage it, I mean put simple things like couches, maybe some pictures on the wall. Just make it look like a home so people can have a vision when they walk in this home. Like, oh, look at this. This is how our family's going to be sitting. And here's where the TV's going to sit. And here's the dining table. And they can start to see the vision because we've staged it simply for it.
Well, okay. So let me just back up a little bit. So the first thing is in the negotiation, who gave the price to who? Did you guys have, and I also want to say, you guys, before I ask Cody this question, Cody just said, I mean, this is just liquid gold, everything that he's saying, because I want you to hear something that is so important, what he just said. If you guys just hit the back button by 30 seconds twice, and you're going to hear what he just said, is one of the number one reasons why there are people who come into this business and do deals right out of the gate and just crush it because of what he just said. He said, I didn't really know what the valuation was, but we just kind of had an idea. And then we put the property under contract for as low as possible, right? So here is the deal. Don't become an expert. You don't have to be so concerned with the exact valuation and becoming like a licensed and bonded and insured appraiser. Just put the property under contract for as low as possible. And then you're going to want to sell it, whatever your exit strategy is, for as much as possible to make as much profit as possible. So the one key thing that Cody said that was so key again was he didn't really know the true exact value, which is so key. So I just wanted to point that out. The other thing too is, first of all, were you in this appointment or was it one of your acquisition managers?
This is my team going out there that did this, and they did this all by themselves. And we ultimately put the home under contract at $137,000. And then I'll get to the specifics. But yeah, this is all done by team. I don't go on these appointments.
Well, so when you were giving the price, when they were giving the price to the homeowner, who came up with the actual offer? Like, who was that? The seller who made that number, or was it you guys, or how did that work?
It starts by just the negotiation conversation that we always have. It's the same every single time. And I would tell you the truth is we always want them to see what their price is because we want to see if it's going to work. Again, our goal is to be a win-win situation. But they came in at a price at $160,000, and we knew we just couldn't do it because it just didn't work for us. And so we ultimately put out an offer and said, you know what, we can't do the 160, but what if we could do 120,000? And that's where the negotiation started.
So they gave the price first of 160.
They did, yes.
Okay, so you guys, key again, liquid gold. Write this down. Who gave the price first was the seller. Very important. So I just want to slow down for 1 second here. The seller gave the price first, not the investor. That is so key. Always allow your seller to give the price first. We go by what's called the rule of 7, that we do not give our price in my company. We do not give a price until we have asked for the price for the home from the seller at least 7 different times. And we eventually get into conversations where we say, if the seller just won't, they just persist, we'll say, well, we don't want us to give you the number. We're the investors. I mean, we'll start at $100 and go up from there. And we kind of joke around about it. We learned that from Bill Rafter in our tribe. So they're always the rule of 7. So I love that. Okay, so you have the house under contract, and you had it under contract then. So you made them an offer of 120, and then I guess they countered. And what ultimately did you get the house under contract for?
This one ultimately went under contract for $137,000.
$137K. Now, you also said that on this particular one that you guys actually purchased the home. Now, I know there's a lot of people who are out there who are going, oh my goodness, but I don't have credit. I don't have money. So how the heck did you come up with $137,000 to actually close and buy in this home, plus the closing costs and all that? So how did that work?
This is a great point to bring out to our listeners. I just get transactional funding, and you can borrow that from either your traditional hard cash lenders that will charge you a higher percent. You might have family members that have stash of money sitting in a bank that they can use. On this particular one, this was used through what I just said, a traditional hard cash lender that charges 2 points and 12%. So to make math easy, let's say you borrow $100,000 from a hard cash lender. You would pay $3,000 for 1 month of using his money. So the 2 points is considered a percent for each point, so 2%, and then also the 12%, which is 1% a month. So you add those 3 points together, 3% of 100,000 is $3,000 is what it costs for that $100,000.
So I want to be crystal clear on a few things. I want to say this to everybody who's listening. The first thing is, everyone freaks out when they hear about hard money lending like it's some big complicated math equation like quantum physics that you can't figure out and is not available to you. As wholesalers and as coaches in this industry, Cody and I run into the same two types of people all the time. We constantly run into people who are saying, I have these deals and I need money. Where can I find it? And then another group of people who are like, I have a ton of money and I'm only making 1 or 2% in a bank. Who can I lend it to? So here is the deal. I want you to start off this whole thing by knowing that if you need cash, it is everywhere. It is everywhere. There's private lenders, family members, hard money lenders. And what Cody just described, the 1% and 12%, this is easy, simple math. The title company will help you figure it out. It's readily available. There are sources for hard money and private money everywhere. So do not be nervous about that. Cody, I think we should probably have a podcast about like maybe with some hard money lenders, like people who want to lend. Do you think that's what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. And I've got plenty. Again, it's easy. I don't want our listeners to ever feel like it is hard to find money for your deals that you're doing. It's not. It really is as easy as finding the McDonald's. It's that easy.
I promise you that if you put a good deal under contract to buy, there is money available. And we like to always, one thing, guys, is when it comes to real estate investing, there's different laws and regulations all over the place. So always, 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 no matter what you hear on this podcast or from any coach or guru or training seminar or coaching program or anything, go and check with a local real estate attorney first who's in the state where you're performing transactions. Run all this stuff by them first. But here's the bottom line. Just know this. Hard money is everywhere. We always like to acquire some sources of hard money first before we go out looking for deals so we know we have it, but it's super, super easy. It shouldn't take you more than 15 to 30 minutes to figure that out and to actually find a ton of resources just by asking around for exactly that. And if you have a good deal, again, there's tons of money everywhere. So don't let that stop you. Don't be nervous about that. But all right, so you get the home under contract and then you ultimately, so on this particular deal, you actually bought the home with hard money.
I did. So I bought that, put it under contract, closed on it, and then we put it, it's called, instead of just the word wholesaling, like that art of finding the deeply discounted property, yes, we use that. But now we use a word called wholesaling, where you combine wholesale and retail together to get the word wholesale, right?
Oh,
so we put it back. Oh, did I hear a semi-bell back there?
I was just going to say we're –
I love the victory bell, by the way.
I love the victory bell. It's very cool. We have a new victory bell, actually, because I moved my office. But I just want to tell you guys, this wholesaling stuff is amazing. Wholesaling is great, but wholesaling is just simply the art of just, without rehabbing the property, just buying it and putting on MLS for the highest cash buyer. And what it ultimately does is creates a feeding frenzy around your deals. And it is just amazing because instead of making, $10,000 or $20,000 per deal, now you're making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 per deal, or even more, and it's absolutely the coolest thing in the world. So wholesaling essentially means that you bought it, Cody, right, and then you just sold it, I guess, through an agent on MLS or something like that.
Correct. Put on the MLS, had an agent list it, and originally why we had to come up with our numbers is we thought this home would be worth around 180, maybe 190, and anyways, that was our number. Our realtor afterwards says, why don't we try putting this at 199,000? And we thought, great, this is going to be awesome if we can get this. And this home was already in good condition, so it wasn't like a home that needed much rehab. It's in great shape. That's why we staged it to make it look like a cozy home already. And we put it at 199, and this ended up driving up where multiple buyers, retail buyers, wanted this home. And the final price that we put under contract was for $216,000 as is. We didn't do one thing to it.
Wow, I love it. Now, okay, so that definitely gets the victory bell. So. Wow, that's amazing, brother. All right, so that's a total profit. I don't have a calculator in front of me, but it sounds like you did that $73,135.45.
Correct. After like the loan cost and all that fun stuff, closing cost, a net to us of $73,135.45. But the key thing that I want our listeners to understand is you can't turn a bad wholesale deal into a good wholesale deal. It still starts with finding a good deal. If the deal is not good from the beginning, it doesn't matter. Wholesaling is not going to change that for you. So make sure you always have a good deal right from the beginning.
I totally agree. And, one thing that we always say is 10K all day, which means that, you always want to start with a margin of at least 10K. And then typically, but I will say this, if I could have gone back and wholesaleed the majority of my deals, amazing. I mean, I don't even want to think about it. I just did this with my brother Todd. We were running some numbers on wholesaling deals versus other exit strategies, and it's like, oh my goodness. So yeah, it's eye opening. I've got a wholesale deal I'm working on right now, and I'll we can talk about that one another time. But awesome, very very cool. I love it. So you guys, that's more money than $73,000. That's more money than most Americans make in an entire year. So let me ask you this question, Cody. From beginning to end, from first contact to getting your check in your hands, what was the total amount of time that took you?
Let me look at this real quick. So from the time we put it under contract, it was 13 days later that we closed on it. And then from there, it took a month and a half. And the reason being is because of traditional lenders and all that stuff. So yeah, from the end buyer, our retail buyer closing on our home was another like 45 days. So let's say 15 days on top of that. So let's say 60 days. Let's say 2 months total from when we put it under contract and we had a check in our hand for $73,000.
That's amazing. And the whole time you were, getting dirty with paint and granite countertops and drywall and saws and dumpsters and putting on a new roof and all that stuff, right?
Wrongo bongo.
Wrong is right. Right. Exactly. So the whole thing is it may have been a 2 month waiting period, but the beauty of wholesaling is that you're not rehabbing the property. So that's amazing. And $73,000 in less than 60 days. I mean, holy smokes. And congratulations, man. That's awesome. So what are you going to do with that money?
That will just keep going and pushing forward with that. We don't take it all home. A lot of people are like, oh, you can go on a great vacation. We're really smart. So whether that means acquiring some rentals, whatever it may be, but I just love that I have cash available from these deals to now really cherry pick my best deals and keep them for a rental portfolio. And that's really my direction.
It's so amazing you should say that, because one thing I'll tell you guys is that as wholesalers, as you get more and more cash, one thing you get to do is really cherry pick your pipeline for rentals. People talk about good rentals at a few percentage points. They're like, oh, rentals would be great with X, Y, and Z. And it's so funny because, what an agent will call a good deal for an investor who's looking for a rental, is like a few points below retail price. But it's so funny because as a wholesaler, you come across these home run deals where you're paying 30, 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar. The ROI when you can pay cash for a property like that is, my goodness, talk about really, extrapolating and just getting this thing, just exploding your successes when you start taking the cash from wholesaling and you start putting it into free and clear rental properties. You guys, it's really, I love it. So I want to have a follow-up call with you with that $73,000 and what rental property you bought and what the ROI is on that. Sounds fair?
I would love to do that. It'd be great for our listeners to learn that.
All right. So one last question before I let you go. I want to know, tell me what is and I will tell you guys this. I'm telling you right now, Cody and I are close friends. We do this business together, even though I'm interviewing him and he's interviewing me. We do this podcast together, but I wanted to specifically, because I heard about this Facebook deal, and Facebook is kind of new for both of us. I wanted to pick his brain specifically about this deal. But one thing that you'll always find is you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So I spent a lot of time with Cody. We spent time together, and he's an awesome inspiration in my life. He came into the business and crushed it. So one thing you always notice about successful wholesalers and about successful people all the time is that they're always, whenever you ask them this question, they don't have to think about it. They can just know it right away. And we haven't practiced this podcast, so this is an off the cuff question that I didn't prepare Cody for ahead of time, but I guarantee you'll have an answer. So just check this out, guys. So Cody, what book are you reading right now, or what is a book that you just read that you could recommend to everybody, the whole tribe, the Rhino Nation, everyone who's listening? What would be a good book that you could recommend right now?
A good book right this second that I'm rereading because it's that good is The Slight Edge.
Oh, yes.
The Slight Edge. It's one of my favorites.
Did you recommend, hold on, I want to see if that one's in my library.
I recommended that one to you.
You did, right? Okay, so wait, let me just see if what is that book about? Remind me, because I know
The Slight Edge almost derives and kind of goes together with The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, right? But The Slight Edge is just talking about what makes a difference between, and you can compare this with anything, but what makes a difference between like a wholesaler that's doing 6 figures every month and a wholesaler that's making $5,000 a month? And really, everyone thinks, oh, there's such a big gap. It's got to be something big. It's not. It's little things and doing them consistently. And then that gives you the slight edge, right? Where Big Mo, instead of, we call it Big Mo, when momentum comes to help you out, Big Mo comes and visits town like and starts pushing you.
Right. It's so true. So this is so key. Less, you guys, I'm telling you for sure, like less of the other things and more of reading and spending time with awesome people. And yeah, Cody, great reminder on The Slight Edge. I actually think I do remember for sure. I don't see it in my library, but I will order it today. Yeah, that is amazing. I'm going to definitely read it. And right now, one book that I'm reading is, anybody wants to keep up with our reading list, is I'm reading Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, the guy who built Nike. I just finished Rising Strong by Brene Brown, which was an awesome book. I definitely strongly recommend it, especially if you are starting in wholesaling and you've been struggling. She gives you some really good insight. It's not really a business book, but it's a great book to give you some insight about some of your thought patterns. But awesome. All right, brother. Well, thank you for the book recommendation. I will definitely buy it 100%. And I will read it this time. I don't know why I don't have it. I keep looking for it, but
it's a goodie by Jeff Olson.
Jeff Olson. I am going to definitely read it 100%. So thank you for your time today and letting us pick your brain and letting us put you in the hot seat. Thank you for being so specific with the answers. And I love it. Go from there, man. Thank you very much. And hey, $73,000.
This goes out to you, Rhino Nation. We love, love, love our listeners.
Very cool. All right, guys, if you want to find out more about exploding your wholesaling business right now, if you want to stop learning and start earning, you want to crush all of your goals, and you want to reach those destinations with excellence, then go to investorgrit.com right now. Click on the application tab for our coaching. If we like what you have to say, we might even invite you in to be a Rhino. All right, everybody, talk to you soon and have a great week.
That's all for this episode. Your next step to success is to continue the conversation over at investorgrit.com by joining the mailing list, as well as get your chance to book a strategy session to learn the systems and become part of the tribe with your hosts, Tom Kroll and Cody Hofhine. We'll see you next episode with more ways to make you a fortune in wholesaling.